you know, frankly, after we started towing with Gen Y products and using them, me personally, I didn't want to have anything without it, because, you know, we really try to build our units like we want them personally. And I wouldn't tow without one, and I feel like our customers should have that same benefit.
Over the 10, 12 years that I've been doing this, I've never seen anything have that big of a dramatic effect on just adding one item. I mean, usually if you add multiple, you're going to see similar reductions, but this is just one item that can completely change your tow experience.
I get asked all the time, what is our best selling product or our most popular product? I always turn to the Executive. It is our direct factory replacement, fifth wheel kingpin, and fifth to goose conversion. Our Executive targets the fifth wheel customers who are tired of the chop and chucking that they may experience while towing on a fixed static connection point. By using the TORSION-FLEX technology that's integrated in the Executive, we do get a true separation point, absorbing 90% of the inertia that is usually transferred into the cab of the truck. The testing broke down in this video was a collaborative effort between Brinkley RV, Gen Y Hitch, and Navistar testing grounds. The point of this was to prove the true benefits and difference between TORSION-FLEX and a typical static fixed connection you see on trailers coming off the production line every single day. To better explain the test results, we brought in the experts from Brinkley RV. Nate, co-owner and founder, spearheading the Model G toy hauler, and Dominic, Director of Innovation.
The testing, we had a lot of parties involved. You know, we had criteria and expectations from LCI on what they wanted to see. Same thing with Dexter. And then, you know, Gen Y was a part of it. And then we hired an engineering firm, Link Engineering, to do all the data collection because we wanted a third-party company making sure that everything was coming in correct and accurate. You know, we wanted clean data that everybody could really rely on.
Whenever you're doing new product development or qualification, what you're going to start with is a halt test. So that's highly accelerated life cycle testing. Main goal there is to overly stress the product in a very short amount of time just to qualify kind of structural integrity.
We way overloaded the units in comparison to how we would normally load them. I mean, we had the unit over 23,000 pounds. It was a 3,500, which is crazy.
After you've passed a halt test, you typically go on to different qualification metrics. In this case, it's ride quality, feel, which can be a little subjective. So you've got to come up with a way to test it in a closed, repeatable atmosphere so that you can make sense of all of the data that you're seeing.
For me, where it's really valuable is obviously what's going on in the truck when you're going down the road. And you know, especially on concrete roads and different situations, I think most of us that have towed a lot of miles have had some pretty serious situations where, you know, the chucking was bad enough that you had to slow down to, you know, 40 miles an hour to get through a particular highway.
What we did was we took an accelerometers team of independent engineers so that nobody could be biased with the information. We developed a local road course that was repeatable with the unit, and then we took it to the Navistar proving grounds. And we had accelerometers on the back, middle, front, and then the tow vehicle. So what you do with accelerometers is they're judging vibration, and in the report it's going to read as hertz. So think of hertz in the same way that you would think of like miles per hour for speed. So we're just associating a vibration number with what we're seeing in the coach, just like you would qualify speed of a car with miles per hour.
We really wanted to do the testing in a way where we had a great baseline on what we had done in the past. And then off of that baseline, look at, okay, add this product, what kind of difference does it make? Add this product, what kind of difference does it make? And for the first time ever, you know, we had a bunch of different equalizer setups. We had it with and without sumo springs. We had standard pinbox, Gen Y pinbox. And then it really gave us a lot of clarity on what makes the most difference in what combination.
So historically speaking, you'll hear from across the industry 1,000 miles at the track equates to, you know, 100,000 miles. It's easier to think of it as 1,000 miles at the track going over all those event scenarios. It gets you to the end of its intended life use. So these coaches are highly aged by the time they're done at the track, even though we're only spending maybe a month and a half there. But that's where you judge where components are failing, when they're failing, how good does everything feel. And in the case of the pinbox, what you're looking for is ride quality over everything. So when you're looking at hertz on the report, it's kind of like golf. The lower the score, the better your score. It, standalone, was the most beneficial thing that you could throw on, just looking from data points all the way back across the graph. If you go to what the industry's kind of coined frame chatter, that's kind of this shock that your coach is feeling. That translates into not only the vehicle, but it can also translate into your truck. And a lot of people will talk about this in like porpoising, chucking, or just like that feeling where you get when you're driving along and you're just fighting the trailer the whole time. So if you look at your control, which is a standard pinbox setup, and you look all the way to the right at the graph, you'll see what the Gem Y does. And I mean, the graph's going from, up here with a standard pinbox setup all the way to extremely low numbers. I mean, to the point where I've never seen a single thing manipulate the force that way like your Gem Y pinbox is doing.
But, a couple other aspects, we've never made it through a full 100,000 mile test without breaking axles. We didn't break any axles. We didn't have to replace any leaf springs. The unit itself was actually in really good condition. We didn't have really any major issues, which is the first time. I mean, usually at the end of the test, this thing is trashed. And we actually have it here. We use it for camping in the summer. I mean, it was nice enough that we kept it and we're using it, so.
Over the 10, 12 years that I've been doing this, I've never seen anything have that big of a dramatic effect on just adding one item. I mean, usually if you add multiple, you're gonna see similar reductions, but this is just one item that can completely change your tow experience.
By and large, you can go out with confidence and not have to worry that you're gonna have a bad towing experience with, a truck full of family getting jerked around. You just don't, it doesn't even cross my mind anymore that would happen. As a manufacturer, and frankly, as a consumer, what I love about it is, we're in combination with the Gen Y, we run Sumo Spring springs, which is, it cushions the ride. And I think for the longevity's sake of the unit, having some kind of legitimate suspension in combination with a pinbox that protects the unit, where it's not getting banged all the way, thousands of times, and what that does to your cabinets and your floors, and people walk into units sometimes and steps are squeaking. That's how that stuff happens. And when people say that RVs have an earthquake every time it towed, that's a huge part of it. Brinkley's are expensive, and we build them well, but you also have to protect them. And I feel like it's a good way to protect your investment. And I think it's gonna help our units stay nicer longer. And I say this from time to time, but I want our customers to have our units for a long time. And I want them to trade them because they think the new one's cool, not because it fell apart and they have to trade it. And I do feel like Gen Y protects our products.
These tests prove what we have been preaching since early 2020 when the first executive was released, that TORSION-FLEX technology creates the smoothest ride possible that eliminates structural stress and frame stress.